Okay, you are on, mister.
All right, good evening, ladies.
Talking with
Good
Pat.
afternoon, whichever you prefer. This is personal finance. Some of you have been through this already. You can sit down anytime now, Lori.
Oh, okay. It's,
I'm just saying.
okay. I'm on my way.
Personal finance.
Somebody's hungry.
Who am I? Most of you know me. All of you really know me, but I'm Orlando. I'm married to that beautiful woman up there beside me on the screen.
Yep.
We've been coming here to Restoration and the Well for almost 3 years now. So, love the work that's going on here. And wanted to be a part of it, and this is my contribution. So, we're going to talk about finances today, and we're going to talk about the basics of personal finance, God's view on finance, discerning the difference between wants and needs, writing it, well, we're not going to cover writing the check, the basics of personal budget, and where do we go from here, some financial tips. So we're going to go over the basics of a personal budget today, but next week we will actually go in and we'll have some computers set up here, and you will actually can go in and work on your own budgets with your own actual figures. So that would be a really cool exercise. We'll have some spreadsheets up on in the computers for you to work with. It'll be perfectly confidential. Only you who will be able to see it, and I will help you with any comments or questions that you may have as we go through the exercise. But it's a really good exercise because it gets you to see exactly where you are. All right, so what is your part here today? Your part is to attend the entire course, that's all 4 weeks. Complete all course activities, participation in all course activities. Don't we missing someone?
A bunch of people.
What happened to?
Sharon was probably, I think she's outside on the phone. Oh, no, there you are, I didn't see you come in. Hi.
Alright, so, one, you want to build a rapport, you want to complete the course activities, you want to inform your mentor of any accommodations you may need, and you want to commit to integrity. Yes, ma'am?
I have a question.
Shoot.
When it comes to doing the budget, after I move next month, I don't have any bills. I pay my rent and all my bills are done. So I don't really have
You work on that
anything to
day.
do. I give them my money and I'm done.
Okay, well, you can still budget because you've got clothes and you've got shoes and you've got food.
I'm not doing
you've
that
got-
stuff, but okay.
You've got cell phone and.
Okay, all right. All right.
So,
Go ahead.
grab a seat, Miss Diane, if you would please.
Debbie.
Or Debbie, I'm sorry.
All right, this will be fine right here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, oh yeah, sure. All right, commit to integrity, what does that mean? That means that, especially when you're talking about your own personal finances, you want to be honest. Because really, if you're not honest, you're just fooling yourself. Right? That's what it comes down to. So, you want to commit to integrity. All right, and if you have a question, just as Karen did, she asked a
Stupid
question while I was in the midst of the statement, but that's good because I'd rather you ask the question while I'm on the subject matter as opposed to having to go back and re-dig it up again. So I'm encouraging you to ask all the questions that you want. Yes, you have another one? Okay,
I'm not gonna be your little pet.
so, you're not gonna what?
I'm not gonna be your little pet and ask all the questions. I'm not gonna be annoying.
Okay, that's a good. Again, the only stupid question is the one that's never asked. All right? Just remember that. Okay, the importance of personal finance. Understand personal finance basics. Balancing your checkbook, personal finance budget. Understanding debt. What is debt? From debt to wealth. How do you eliminate debt and pass it on? Teach your children. Right? That's a key. Once you get to the point where you have reached the place where you are financially secure, children, and they learn from watching us. You know, if you don't have children, then you have grandchildren or, you know, nephews, you know, those cousins, you got people around
Nephews,
you.
nieces, other people's kids?
What?
Nephews, nieces, and other people's kids.
Sure. Sure. So, what is God's view on finance? 10 biblical financial principles. God is the source. Philippians 4:19 tells us, my God shall supply all your needs according to his riches in glory by Christ Jesus. Everything is God's, and he gives it to us that we can be stewards over what he gives us. And he expects us to be good stewards over what he gives us. So God is the source of all things. Amen? Giving is essential. Luke 6:38 says, give and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down and shaken together and running over. Shall men give unto your bosom? For with the same measure that ye meet whither, it shall be measured to you again. As the old saying goes, you know, yes, yes,
Question,
yes, ma'am.
does that mean, give and it shall be given unto you, does that mean give to God's purpose or give to others, like if somebody's walking the street and they say they're hungry and you go buy them something to eat? Is that considered the giving that you're talking about, or is that just giving like in church, like tithe, that kind of thing?
Yes and yes. Yes,
All
yes.
inclusive.
Yes.
Got it.
Anytime we step out of ourselves and give to others in his name, we are giving unto him.
Whatever you have done for the least of these, you have done it unto me.
Amen.
Bible
So
says.
anytime that we do that,
If
we
it
are-
feels right, then
right,
you
I
pray
mean,
and then.
if you're not comfortable with giving someone money, then you can go buy them some food or buy them a meal. I've done that, went to Burger King and bought a guy meals, went in to where he was living in the woods and give it to him, because he asked for money, because he was starving, and I said, well, I went and bought him food and went in and gave it to him. I mean, those are the kind of things that you can do, you can bless others, right? But when we're given in the name of Jesus, it is given back to us in one shape or another, in one form or another. God, we can never outgive God.
Right.
Never outgive God. Live on a margin. Living on a margin simply means allowing room for things to happen, right? And how do we live on a margin? Right? How many of us have been in a situation where all of a sudden the car breaks down, or the hot water heater goes, or the refrigerator goes, right? But when you have resources set aside so that you can take care of those things, it doesn't become a burden, as opposed to not having those things and it becoming a big
And then
deal.
scrambling and saying,
Yep, exactly.
sky's
So
falling, yeah.
it's always good to prepare and be prepared, right? Keep out of debt. Psalm 37:21 tells us the wicked borrows and pays it not again. It's very easy to borrow money. It's extremely difficult to pay it back. Right? How many people have had someone borrow money from them and now they are no longer your friend, family, or acquaintance? They're dead to you, right? No, I'm kidding. But there is some truth to that, though. I mean, it strains relationships. If you want to ruin a relationship, lend somebody some money, because it can happen in a heartbeat. Because it's very easy to borrow money, like I said, but when it comes to paying it back, it's tough. It gets real tough real quick, right? So the Bible even tells us, Psalm 37:21. Right, the secret of contentment, Hebrews 13:5, and I love this verse. Let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as ye have. For he hath said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Right, that's a promise from Jesus Christ himself. He will not, we who are the ones that turn our back on him. He never turns his back on us. Right? And to be content with God, with what God has given us. And to say, all right, God, I'm in this place, I have what I have, you have given it to me, and I am content with it, I'm going to be happy where I am, right? Instead of always striving, always wanting more, always wanting more, always wanting more. But being content with what God has given us. And that's the key to peace. And the Bible calls it the peace that surpasses all understanding. It's one of the fruits of the Spirit, right? Peace, love, joy, hope, all of these things. So keep a budget. Proverbs 24:3-4 tells us, through wisdom is a house built, and by understanding it is established, and by knowledge shall the chambers be filled with all precious and pleasant riches. Right? So through wisdom is a house built. Financially speaking, a budget is a great tool to use to build your house, to plan, to knowing where you are at all times, right? Because it's very easy to spend money, and we're going to talk in a little bit about money creep, right? Spending creep, and it's something that we all get sucked into very quickly and very easily. Right? So we'll talk about that in a second. Bible-backed savings, Proverbs 21:20 says, there is treasure to be desired and oil in the dwelling of the wise, but a foolish man spends it up. You know, it's how many people have you heard about that have won the lottery and 6 months to a year later they're flat broke. They went and they spent it all instead of putting some away and living off the interest and doing, investing the money and those kind of things so they can live comfortably the rest of their lives. They had wild parties and bought all these big boats and cars and things. Next thing you know, they're out of money.
Repoing all of it. Before you don't have it to begin with, they repo all what you spent it as first on, and then at the end of the day, you don't even have the boat or the car anymore.
Yep, that's right, exactly, very good. All right, don't co-sign, this is a big one. Proverbs 27:13 says, get security from someone who guarantees a stranger's debt. Get a deposit if he does it for foreigners. What that's basically saying is, does everybody understand what a co-sign is when you co-sign for a loan, right? You're signing for somebody else, you just took on their debt. So if they renege on their debt, you're responsible, you co-sign. Right? So if they skip town, guess who they're coming after? You.
I just signed for my nephew's bill, and I'm responsible for $100 a month now, and I'm like, I've come down on the strap because I have to pay it today,
Yep, see, there you go. It's now you're
Now,
committed.
yeah.
And where's he?
He's out.
And he's supposed to pay, right?
Oh, I signed it, I gotta pay it. Took on that responsibility.
Okay. God bless you.
Trying to be.
So another work hard. Proverbs 14:23 tells us, in all labor there is profit. So when you labor, especially if you labor unto the Lord, there is profit. Even just that's not going to work, working. Some situations that's not possible. But if you are capable and you have the capabilities to do it, then you go and work, and it is profitable because you get a paycheck. With that money, you can pay your bills, and so forth. Seek godly counsel. Proverbs 15:22 tells us, without counsel, purposes are disappointed, but in the multitude of counselors, they are established. Right, so, especially in the area of finances, finances can very quickly and easily become confusing, scary. Sometimes you just want to hide your head in the sand like the ostrich and just hope it'll all go away, but unfortunately it doesn't.
Gets bigger.
As the bills change color,
Yeah, the negative turns into red.
when they turn red or pink,
You get a pink slip from the BG&E.
turn off notice is coming. Or is
The
that?
print on the front of the envelope gets bolder.
So you can't ignore it because it's inevitable that bills have got to be paid, or else things get cut off and things like that, right? So, but it's always good to get counsel, get wise counsel. You know, there's a counselor that's available here at the well, and she can counsel you on your finances. You're going through that.
I'm done.
Oh, you're done?
I'm done
You
now.
graduated?
I graduated.
Awesome. Got your education. Good
Yeah.
deal. So,
And if you wanna use the summary to see where I grew or not, you can. That's actually what I showed Doris yesterday.
okay. Cool. Very cool. So, it's a good feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
See?
Did I meet all my goals during that whole 2 years or whatever it was?
No.
But I grew,
And that's the key.
so.
You gotta grow. Very good. That's good, that's good. So counsel, get counseling. If you're struggling with your finances, or things you don't understand, don't be ashamed. A lot of people are like that. You don't feel that way. Get some good, wise, godly counsel. Right? So, let's review God's view on finances. God is our source. He's the source of all things, right? And He freely gives to those who ask in his, you know, according to His will. I mean, if you're asking for a Mercedes-Benz, I mean, probably not going to get one. You know? I mean, I want a motorcycle, but I'd end up wrapping myself around a tree, so I'm probably not going to get one. But you know, hey, giving is better than receiving, right? So when we give in His name, not expecting anything in return, that's true. That's true giving in the name of Christ, right? That's live on a margin. Yes, ma'am.
She says,
No need to apologize.
what if you give out of your heart and because it's the right thing, but you give so much that you don't have nothing left for yourself? And how do you say no? I mean, like, my kids have now got me so broken every month, I'm like, I don't have no budget. And even if I do have a budget, I'll take out of my budget to say, sure, here you go.
Okay.
Out of love and out of I feel committed to help all the time.
All right. There's one element that's called enabling. When, you knew this was coming, right?
Yeah. I was just making sure I was correct on my stuff.
Sometimes when we give, and we give with a pure motive or heart, but we're just enabling them to continue in the activities that they're doing, which apparently if they don't have the money to do the things they need to do, then they're doing something with their money. Right? Whatever it is they're doing with their
Buying
money.
organic and they don't wanna work, and I'm paying for it.
Well, they need to get out there and work. We just reviewed, scriptures tell us you gotta get out there and work. If you're capable of working, you should work. Some people aren't, you know, they're disabled or have disabilities, that's a different story. But if you're capable of working, you should be out there working. You know, so if that's between you and them and God.
So pray a lot.
Yeah, you gotta pray a lot, absolutely. But just, you gotta ask yourself, and am I enabling them by giving them all this money? And does God really want me to put myself in a position where now I'm strapped and I'm hurting, right? So you gotta ask yourself that question. And then it's between you and God. Amen? All right, living on a margin, right? We talked about that. Being prepared. Stay out of debt. If possible, if you can pay for it in cash, then pay for it in cash. Don't get the credit. Because it's easy to get that credit, man. You know, use that credit card or get that credit, but man, when it's time to pay it back, it gets real tough. Right? Be content with what God has given us. Don't always be looking at the Joneses, striving for something more. Keep organized. Get a budget together and stick to it. And we'll talk, like I said, more about that next week, and we'll talk a little bit about it today, some of the basics of the budget. Save your money. Put a little bit of money away. Don't co-sign, because you have just, when you do, you just signed your life over to someone else's financial debt. And you are going to become responsible if they decide to take off.
Which goes back to number 4.
Yes. Exactly, very
Stay
good.
out of debt.
Well, you did learn some stuff, didn't you? Good deal. Work hard. If you work hard, you will be rewarded. I don't know of any hard work that has never been rewarded in one shape or another. And then seek counsel. It's always good to seek wise counsel. Good godly counsel. All right, so, who can tell me the difference between wants and needs?
A need is essential.
Yes.
Needs, water, electricity, unless you're back on the candle days. You know, clothing, food, needs, wants. I wanna go to a movie tonight. I wanna go to the mall and get something, a pair of shoes, even though I have a pair already. That's what you want, but do you need a pair of shoes? No, because you already have a pair.
That's very good, yes. And that's essentially the crux of the matter, exactly, right? Now, needs, I must have, right? Things that you must have, things you must have to survive, to live, like the basics, right? And wants, I would like to have. At the beginning of the century, the average American had 72 wants and considered 18 of them important. By the end of the century, the average American had 496 wants and considered 96 of them as genuine. So you can see how we increase with science and technology, that the wants increase as well. You know, like, you gotta have that new iPad, or you gotta have that new iPhone, or, you know, I gotta have that. So these are the things like, you know, wants, right, that you really need it. I'm not saying they're bad things to have, I'm not saying that at all.
They're nice,
They're nice to have, but
but
do you need it, and is it in your budget?
that's what I was just gonna say.
That's the question. So, what are some wants and needs? Needs.
Food,
Food,
shelter,
right? Gotta have food to eat, your
Clothing.
body's
Gotta have a
gotta,
roof over your head.
Clothing.
yep, basic clothing. And just like, you know, Debbie said, you have a pair of shoes, got a good pair of shoes, they're in good shape. Do you need that other nice pair of shoes, $400? Those nice pumps or
Where are
whatever?
you buying shoes?
What?
Where are you buying shoes, $400?
I'm just saying.
I got a car in the backyard or something for $5, you need a pair of shoes for $4. Wow.
Children's basics, diapers, clothing, you know, food, baby food, those kind of things. Transportation expenses, whether it be your car, gas, bus passes, you know, things, you know, you need to get around. You need to get to the store to buy the food and buy the clothes, right?
shelter.
Yep. Mortgage, rent,
Right.
shelter, yep, absolutely. You gotta have a roof over your head, so you can get kind of warm or cold, depending on what time of the year it is, right? Utility bills, electric, gas.
Cable is not included in the utility.
Nope.
Cable is not a necessity.
Well, it is if you have children that need educational television.
No.
PBS is free.
A
The
book.
water.
Oh, wow.
PBS
Water,
is,
gas.
PBS is a free channel, you don't have to pay for that, that's an educational channel,
There you
you
go.
don't have to
A
pay for
cell
that.
phone is
I
not
tried
a
to put a little
utility
spin
bill
on it to
either.
see how important TV was, but I guess no.
Cell phone does not,
Tithing, right? And there is some controversy as to how much you should tithe,
10%,
10%.
even though I don't do that.
But that's between you and God.
That's right.
Yeah.
Between you and God, and that is, you know, when you get to see your Maker face to face, then you guys can hash that out there, but as far as, I will keep my own personal opinions to myself. Right, and taxes, you gotta pay your taxes, because Uncle Sam wants his,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah,
you
lately
can
he wants
end
a
up
lot
in
more.
I was
jail,
getting ready to say, like,
or
this, we
losing
don't like
everything
to
you
stay
have
out of
if
jail.
you don't pay your taxes. What?
I said, we don't like to stay out of jail.
Yes, yes, correct. Although, guys like us, they wouldn't put us in jail, they would just take everything we have, freeze our bank accounts, all that good stuff. So what are some wants?
Cell phone.
Cigarettes. Marijuana. Oh, no, he didn't. Oh, yes, I did. Drugs.
Wow.
Alcohol.
Yeah.
Wasn't
Right.
marijuana other drugs?
That's a little controversial, Orlando.
What's that?
Marijuana should be with drugs, why is it by itself?
Because I wanted to.
Taking a walk on the wild side.
I think drugs covers all marijuana and
But,
alcohol.
thanks for asking.
Him's being a grown-up today.
No, he's
But,
just.
you know, and it goes beyond this. This is, it goes beyond this to things that you really, you want, but you don't need. Like, I don't want this fly flying around me.
Well,
You need
he's
it?
bothering you.
No, I do not. I want it to go away.
It needs to be over there so it stays away from my feet.
So I think we all have a pretty good concept or grasp of what the difference between a want and a need, right? So if we're spending our money on need or wants, then there's a good possibility that we don't have the money to pay a lot of times, oftentimes, our needs.
Right.
So we're using the utility bill money to pay for, some pot or something. I didn't say some people I know do that, but that's a whole nother story. So what is actually a financial transaction? A financial transaction is defined as money transferred from one entity to another for a provided product or service.
Purchase.
It's a purchase, yes, exactly, it's a purchase, right? So you give money to Amazon.com and they send you a book or, whatever it is that you ordered, right? Draperies, pillows, whatever, they'll send it to you. That's a transaction. That is a financial transaction. When you pay for your car loan, that is a financial transaction. You give the lending organization, whether it's the bank or the that's a financial transaction. You give them money, they allow you to keep your car, right? So that is a financial transaction. In English, you give money to pay for something. That's what that means in English. Give money to pay for something.
What does it mean in Spanish?
Go ask Crystal.
I was wondering.
I don't know.
You said it in English, I was just curious.
Mucho estúpido.
Mucho stupido.
Yeah, tú estás estúpido.
All right, personal financial budget. So one of the great tools that we have, and it's really very easy to do once you learn the basic concepts and you are completely honest with yourself. It's a really great tool, and that's a basic financial budget, right? So basic financial concept: money comes in, money goes out. How many times you get your paycheck, and next thing you know, 2 days later, a day later,
You have $2 in your pocket.
you got $2 and a couple of Washingtons in your pocket, right? So how can you manage this flow of money? Well, it's a budget, right? It's a method to help you manage your money. Because when you actually see where your money's going and how you're spending your money, you really can get a grasp on you can get a hold of your money and your spending, and you can make better decisions with your money.
There's actually a workbook that you can get, and it has a graph where you can pencil in, like, some of like the zipper notebooks you can get, and that you put how much you get, and then it breaks it down, how much you spend on each thing, and then what you have left, and what are you gonna do with what you have left, how much you're gonna save, and how much you're gonna spend on things that you want. So it's like a really neat tool to have, like, jot down, an agenda, a monetary agenda.
Yes, and that's what the spreadsheet that we'll be working with is electronic.
So you have one.
Yes, we'll do it next week. We'll have it next week. So, and the cool thing too is I keep, we were harping on, about wants and needs, right? You can, with a budget in some of your wants. Like, you want to take your family to one dinner a month and a movie. You can budget that into your budget. And you can have that money set aside so that you're not taking money from something that you need, right? Make sense? You can do that. Now, here are some of the budgeting guidelines for the cost of living by category: transportation, food, debt payments, credit cards, car loans, personal and discretionary, medical, cell phones, savings, you can put money away for yourself, utility bills, clothing, medical, housing, right? These are all categories that you can spend your money in. So this is the basics of a budget, understanding where your money is going. And then you can understand, or you can plan better, how to manage your money. It is very interesting when you actually see where your money's going and how much you're really spending. Because if you just spending, paying this bill, paying that bill, paying for this, paying for that, you're spending, buying this, buying that, next thing you know, your money's gone. Where'd it go? Go on, right? So when you're working with a budget, and I said, next week we are going to do this, you'll get to actually work hands-on with your own budget, but you identify goals, and we'll review all this again next week at the beginning before we actually do the activity, so you'll be refreshed. But identify goals, right? What are your goals? Do you want to get out of debt? Do you want to buy a house? Do you want to buy a car? Do you want to, what do you want to do? What are your goals? Then you can structure your budget accordingly. So if you want to buy a car, right? You kind of figure out how much you need. You want to buy a 2015 sedan, BMW or Pinto or whatever, right? You figure out what you want, and you figure out roughly how much it's going to cost, and you can calculate your insurance, and you can, and then, title, taxes, and all that kind of stuff, and then you start planning in your budget to put X amount of dollars away every pay towards that goal, right? So you can identify goals. A lot of people do vacation clubs. It's the same principle, right? Every week you put money away into your vacation club so that when vacation time comes up, you've got the money to go on vacation. It's the same principle. You can identify goals that you want to achieve, right? And again, like we were talking about earlier, you can budget once into your budget. It doesn't necessarily, but you have to take care of your needs first, then whatever's left over, then you can start planning for some of your wants. Because it's not like you gotta walk around like you're sucking persimmons, right? All looking like you're ready to go to a funeral. Oh, I can't do anything because I'm on a budget. No, it's you plan. And you plan for the things that you want, things that you need, right? You plan, and you'd be amazed when you can actually plan with your money. You can make it go a long, long way. Like, one of the things you can do is with Angie and the couponing, right? You can actually save a lot of money by doing that. A little bit of effort, again, work, a little bit of work pays off, right? We talked about that Bible verse earlier. You do a little bit of work and you do your couponing, and next thing you know, you're saving a lot of money on your food, and that's money that you could be using elsewhere, maybe for a want. So it's good planning, good
What
planning.
Karen did yesterday.
Oh, yeah, I went to the store, I bought $98 worth of food and I only spent $33.
There
What?
you go.
And then she went to lunch afterwards.
And then I went and got us stuff.
Couponing?
Yep.
Huh?
Couponing?
I don't do,
Is that, I'm saying
She
that's how you did
did.
it?
She bought like chicken for free.
I don't do like Angie, I get my sale paper, I get my coupons on Sunday, I get my sale paper on Sunday. This is, okay, I want this, I don't do all that. 20 minutes it took me to get all my coupons together. She has like a whole science and a whole 3-week process.
She goes find them from different sections.
Yeah,
and all
it
that.
takes me 20 minutes. Okay, this is $1 off. Hey, this is $2. This is.
You know, I
I
have
don't
to
know
add
process.
something really quick, getting back to God and what God wants you to do with your money. I have it's gonna be really fast. She asked me the few dollars, she said, oh, God, she's talking again.
Oh, because I'm coughing
$2
again. I don't have my
now.
inhaler.
$2, she's talking about getting down to every dollar tithing. I had $2, that's all I had Sunday, and I put it in there. And today I get book bags and folders and everything for my grandkids, all the school supplies they needed. I'm like, this works.
Yeah, it
I
does.
put my trust in God and just gave him the last $2. I would have like 10 cents or something, that's all I had. I'm like, you know what, I have $2 left. I either go over there and get a iced coffee or, and then boom. So he meets you at your need. He does, every time.
That's right.
And this is the first, I was kind of hesitant, she brought it in, and she said, my reaction was what? I was so worried, I can breathe now. Wow, someone from the church got everything in.
Very cool. Way to go. Perfect example. Thanks for sharing. Okay, so you identify goals, and then where is your money going? Like I said, the budget is a great way to actually see where your money is going, where you're spending your money. Identify sources of income. What income do you have coming in? Right? What are your sources? Then you add it all up, and then you make adjustments if you need it. Right? So maybe you know, you don't need the triple super deluxe cable package, and you get the basic. And you save yourself $70 a month. Right? I mean, these are the kind of things you can, when you're looking at a budget, you actually see where the money's going, you can make these kind of decisions.
But no, he makes sense, because when I first moved here, it was $75 a month for the internet, which I needed for the kids, and the cable, or I could spend $15 more and get a house phone that I refused to plug in, but it made it cheaper to get the little bundle. I think it was like $82 for all three things a month versus
Having three
$75.
bills instead
And
of-
one,
And everything is just in one bill. I won't plug in my house phone. I hate telemarketers.
But they lie. I did that over my mother's, and they didn't add the taxes and the surcharges and this, that, and the other. That $75 bill became a $176 bill.
Oh, mine didn't.
They didn't add all that, and then I was like, well, bill.
No, they don't. They do not call it.
Mm-hmm. Over
But
Verizon.
also too, where your money is going, you can do like, track break it down.
Yeah, yes, when we get into budgeting tomorrow,
Yeah.
yes. You have to be disciplined to write it down. A great example is, I've got a cell phone app it's called MyFitnessPal. And I log, every time I eat something, I log it in there. So I can count, and every time I exercise or do something, I log it in there. 70 pounds later, I'm still doing it. But I've disciplined myself to log it in there every day. And it paid off, because I was able to see at night. I said, oh, I've only got 10 calories left. I better not have that slice of pizza, right? Because I can't afford it. I already used my calories for the day. So that's the same principle with your budgeting. If you're, you know, you gotta log it. You gotta log your spending in there, because otherwise you're gonna think you got money that you don't have, right? Because
Right.
you went and spent money on something, you didn't log it, and next thing you know, and it's not that difficult either. It's not like you have to sit and every time you know, throw a dime to somebody or something like that. But you have to log in. You gotta log in. You gotta be disciplined, right? You gotta keep up with it.
You have to stick to the budget.
Yep, and then you make adjustments if needed. So, like I said, if there's, you see, you know, you want that vacation fund, slush fund, or Christmas fund, right? Maybe you can save some money somewhere else and shift it over to your Christmas fund or vacation fund or your car fund or your home fund or whatever it is whatever goals that you set. Remember the first point was identify your goals, right? So here is a basic graphical representation of your budget and cash flow. So there's your money. Money goes into your incoming cash bucket, right? Then you gotta pay your rent. You gotta pay your food, buy your food. You gotta pay your utility bills. You gotta pay your transportation expenses and so on, right? And then, you wanna pay yourself, and don't forget, you gotta pay God, right? So, this is really a graphical representation of how your money is spent and where your money flows, right? This is pretty much how it goes. And then when you're doing this piece here,
Where's the saving? Where I don't see saving. That
Pay
would be
yourself.
another red.
pay yourself. You can pay yourself, put yourself on your own payroll. Pay yourself $20 a pay, $15 a pay,
If you choose not to spend it.
$20 a pay, $50 a pay, whatever it is. I
It would be
really,
technically like another bundle.
what?
It could be technically another bundle,
Could be.
you know, if you
This
choose.
can get a lot more detailed than
Yeah.
just this is just the basics, right? But,
To pay
you know,
yourself,
but pay
go to
yourself,
savings and-
you put it in savings, put it, whatever you wanna, pay yourself. And I encourage you that after you work on your budgets, just to get the discipline of putting something away every time you get paid. Every time that check comes in, $10, $5, just put something aside, and whatever you do, spend it. Just leave it there. As far as you're concerned, it's dead. It doesn't exist. And then when you really do need it, it'll be there. Right? Again, that's paying yourself. So let's go over some personal financial budget tips. It's a necessary evil. A lot of people really do not like to talk about money or budgeting or finances, right? It's a necessary evil. No, there's only the practical way to get a grip on your spending and to make sure your money is being used the way you want it to be used. That's the way you do it. How do you know unless you actually have a budget and you actually see? There's 3 steps to do a budget, right? There's identify how you spend the money. What do you spend your money on? Evaluate your current spending, set guidelines, and then track your spending. That's where the discipline comes in. You gotta track it. Use a computer if available. If you use a personal finance program such as Quicken or Microsoft Money, the built-in budget making tool can create your budget for you, or I will give you a spreadsheet which you can use, and Dwell here has computers that you can sit down and use. You can pull up your budget, and
You could do
you can
Mint,
work
too.
on it. What?
Mint.com,
Mint.com?
like a budget tool.
Is it? Okay, I'll have to
And
look
it's
into
free.
that. It's free, there you go. You can even do that online, right? And you can log in with your own personal username and password, and nobody else can have access to it, so that would be a good thing. Right, so if you have it available, use a computer. If you have a computer at home, that's even better yet.
No, I use pad, write down my bills, put the amount and what I put out per month, and I know exactly how much I got.
Good, that's good. It's old school, but good.
There you
Well,
go.
because computers are so apt to get hacked into. I don't trust that, especially with like your financial statements and whatnot. Like they have the thing where you put your receipt in there and it scans it and all that stuff. It's like, maybe she can explain, because she's more technical, she's younger. How to hack everything, how to-
I mean, I hear what you're saying, and is it possible? Sure. Is it probable? No.
No?
They're going after big money. They're not worried about you and I. Really. Hackers aren't. I mean, they'll get in there to like viruses and things like that. That's a different story. But actually getting hacked, I think, they're going after corporations, government, things like that, the DNC.
No,
Did
they
you
do
just say
hit
that?
people at the bank.
Did you just say that?
They do. The
What?
hackers do,
The
we've
banks,
been
yeah.
hit 3 times at a bank.
You
Yeah.
can be walking, they got this device out now that you can just be walking, and they can steal your credit card information.
How?
Yeah, it picks up the.
Well,
Some of
yeah,
the new cards have
But
like
you
a
gotta be careful.
transmits of
They
like a
have a new
signal,
wallet out now
and it,
that they can't get your information.
right,
That
it
you-
blocks.
And I've got one.
It's aluminum.
It works.
Yeah.
It works. They can't get my identity. I've had it stolen 3 times.
But that's your identity, but is that like your financial stuff too? Like,
Take my money,
I mean, take your money, I get that.
when then you
part.
can't pay your bills.
Yeah,
Right. Money goes away.
I've been there.
Old school might work after all.
3 times.
Well, I mean, if you put your money in the bank, you gotta trust.
You gotta trust them, I mean.
But it's insured, so, FDIC. So anyway, don't drive yourself crazy. One drawback of monitoring your spending by computer is that it encourages overzealous attention to detail. Once you determine which categories of spending can and should be cut or expanded, concentrate on those categories and worry less about the other aspects of your spending. So don't go totally bonkers, just set your goals, set your, your levels, and then go for it, and then make adjustments as you go. It's not, you just don't like stress yourself over to the point where you drive yourself crazy and everyone around you.
It's not.
So, watch for cash leakage, and this is what I'm talking about. This is a big thing, and I really learned this lesson when I had my own business. I would go out and I'd spend $100 here, $50 here, $25 there, $75 here, $200 there, and I'm thinking, no problem. Next thing I know, I look at my bank statement, I'm going, where did it all go? And I look down and it all adds up, and it adds up quick. So you go out and you buy a $10 hoagie. And then right after that, you go out and you buy a $20,
Cup of coffee. No.
yeah. Starbucks. Right? And then, $5 here, $10 there, and you're thinking it's only $5, it's only $2, it's only $10, but that adds up. It adds up real quick. So you make, and then when you get to the end of the month, you've got 30, 31 days, except for February, which is 28, right? But 30 or 31 days where you've got this creep, what they call creep, spending creep, and that's, so if withdrawals from the ATM machine evaporate from your pocket without apparent explanation, it's time to keep better records. In general, if you find yourself returning to the ATM more than once a week or so, you need to examine where that cash is going. That was the worst thing that ever happened to me, by the way, when I first started with the ATM. I would hit that sucker 2 or 3 times a day.
Right.
Right? And next thing you know, my bank account is gone. So that is the worst thing, accessible cash. Instead of having to physically go to the bank and drive there or walk there or whatever, and withdraw the money, fill out one of those forms, and just pop the card in the machine and punch the little buttons and out comes the money, right?
Well, then.
But guess what? It's not a money machine. That's your money coming out of your account, and guess what? It depletes very quickly.
Well, and then when they said, the bank said, well, they would charge you after so many charges, but you can use a Visa. So then you're just swiping, you're not even,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. So it's evil, but it's convenient, but it can be too convenient, right? But watch for cash leakage. And again, this is being aware of what you're spending and how you're spending your money, right? Don't spend beyond your limit. But if you do, you've got plenty of company. Government figures show that many households with total incomes of $50,000 or less are spending more than they bring in. This doesn't make you an automatic candidate for bankruptcy, but it's definitely a sign you need to make some serious spending cuts, right? And how do you know what you're spending, what you got coming in, what you're spending, and where you are financially? How do we know where we are? How can we? Budget, yes. I had to plug that in there. All right, so beware of luxuries dressed up as necessities. If your income doesn't cover your cost, then some of your spending is probably for luxuries, even if you've been considering them to be filling a real need. Here's a good one. You go out and you buy yourself a nice Mercedes-Benz. Do you need that Mercedes-Benz for $80,000 when, I don't know, a PT Cruiser convertible could do? I had to get that one in there.
Or the cell phone.
What, do you need,
Do you need the latest and greatest?
yeah, you need the
Smartphone.
iPhone
The
6.
upgraded phone.
Right.
The latest and the greatest phone, or
Or-
will, an iPhone
No,
5 or 4 or just a regular, cell phone do?
Right.
You know, that's a good example, right? So, I mean, it's good to have a phone, so you can keep in contact with your family, something happens, you've got a phone, you got communications, right? That's good things to have, it's a good thing to have, but it can turn into a luxury dressed up as a necessity very quickly. Right?
Yeah.
So you just gotta be aware of those things. And I'm not saying it's bad to have those things, because if you budget it into your budget, you can have those things, because you budgeted it in and you created the condition where you can afford it. Because that's the key, can you afford it at this particular point in time? And here's what we're talking, tithe yourself. Aim to spend no more than 90% of your income. That way, you'll have the other 10% left to save for your big picture items. Like I said, it's not bad to, want some wants. It's not a bad thing. It's not like you gotta go and whip yourself every time you think about, having that nice car or something. But, can you afford it at this particular point in time? And if you can't afford it now, then budget it in so that you can afford it. And when you can afford it, then you can get it, right? So, but it's controlling your money. And don't count on windfalls. When projecting the amount of money you can live on, don't include dollars that you can't be sure you'll receive, such as year-end bonuses, tax refunds, or investment gains. I know a buddy of mine, actually, he was my mentor when I first got saved. His mother was a famous surgeon or doctor or something. I never did understand the whole story. But anyway, she passed, and he kept saying that they were fighting in court for him to get all of her estate. And he was always counting on this money. Last I knew, years and years and years later, he never got that money, but he was always counting on that money. Oh, when I get my money, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do that, and I've got the money coming in, so I can get this and that. But you can't count on windfalls. You can't count on, if it isn't in your hand or if it isn't in your budget, don't do it, right? Don't count on like taxes. You don't know what your tax refunds are gonna be,
Or if they're gonna give it to you.
or if they're even gonna give it to you, right? So you can't depend on that. A lot of people, that's a big one, because, oh, my tax bill comes out, I'm gonna get this, or I'm gonna get that. You know what I mean? So, or year-end bonuses. Your company could turn around and say, we didn't make any money this year, so you don't get nothing. Right? But you counted on that money. You may have even already spent it, which is not wise, but it does happen. So, don't count on windfalls. So, beware of spending creep. If anybody's epileptic, I apologize for that. Beware of spending creep. Again, this is what that $2 here, $5 there. As your annual income climbs from raises, promotions, and smart investing, don't start spending for luxuries until you're sure that you're staying ahead of inflation. It's better to use those income increases as an excuse to save more. Again, don't spend money you don't have. And
Or even paying off debt that you do have when you're working to pay off.
there you go. That's even better yet. That's what you should do first and foremost.
Right.
In your goals, setting your goals, pay off your debts.
Mhm.
Then once you're debt free, then you can start saving. That's a very great point. Thanks for bringing that up. That is a really good point. You should always try to, first priority should be get out of debt. Yes, ma'am.
Isn't there a free place that you can go to find out what your debt even is?
That's part of the budgeting. You should know what your debt is.
I mean, you got hospital bills from your 17. got this
You mean your
bill.
credit report?
Yeah,
Oh, the
yeah.
credit report.
How do you know, like, who do you owe? I don't even know who I owe. I owe.
You could go to
medical
Credit
bills. How
Karma,
do you?
Or you can write
Credit
them.
Karma, and they'll
That's
tell
three
you what you
different-
owe and your credit score.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your
There you
credit
go.
score.
And then you can start paying them off one by one, and as you get those knocked off, your
Add
credit
that to the next one.
history, then you can start,
Yeah.
you know,
So there's websites or whatever.
yes.
Yeah, and you can look up the three major credit card reporting.
Yes,
And you're gonna furnish that information.
I can, sure, I can do that, absolutely. Okay, so beware of the spending creep, and here's the key, folks. Know where your money is going, Sorry. I get a little crazy with the animations. Know where your money is going, and the key here is let your money work for you, not you working for your money. I want you to think about that. Let your money work for you. You're in control. Use your budget. Know where your money's going. Know what you're spending your money on. Know what you're doing. Know where, and then you can start making your money work for you as opposed to you working for your money. You're working to pay from paycheck to paycheck just to pay your bills and keep your head above water. But budget can help you to get out of that mess. And get professional help if you need it. Go from this to this, right? Don't be ashamed. Go see Connie. You got a great, example here with Angie. She just went through it all, and she's getting in very good shape, right? Financial shape. So talk to Connie. She can help you.
Don't be afraid of her, guys.
Yeah, she'll
There's many
coach
times
you
I've
along,
rescheduled
she'll
my
mentor
life.
you, she'll help you with your finances. And she's a good, godly Christian woman, and she will help you get your finances in order. And I'm not saying that you don't have your finances in order, I'm just encouraging you as a group, right? So,
Even if you know what you're doing, but you need help to figure something out, you have questions, so that's what you're there for.
and there's no shame if you feel like you've got it together and you're on a good road. It's always good to have somebody that has been down the road a few times to take a look over what you're doing. Just looking it over once or twice and making sure that you are on the right road. Maybe you can make some changes, right? That's what it said, in Proverbs, where it said godly counsel. Success comes from good godly counsel. So they say, Connie, here's what I got. What do you think? And she'll tell you. She's not out to get your money. She don't charge you anything. So why not? Why would you not
And
want
she
to
won't
do it,
yell at
right?
you, even if you mess up, she won't yell at you.
She's a good lady. She really is. A sweet lady. So, that's what I encourage you to do. Get the help. It's out there. It's a resource that's available to you. So, any questions? No?
No.
No.
No, just
So you're trying to breathe
That's
too?
right, yeah, I'm glad you're better.
But if there isn't, I can do tokens now. If you're done.
What?
Tokens.
Okay, let's do this.
Everybody gets a token for a 10-minute class.
Oh, cool. Do tokens then.
And
Okay,
they,
token away.
and they get, anybody that does their volunteer hours gets tokens.
I have to tell Mandy she owes